nothing but oh my god. Promised Neverland Chapter 84, and the information that we got in this chapter. Big news, and it is knowledge that I wasn't aware of if we had got knowledge of this before, but we go all the way back to 1,000 years of when the promise was first made and learning a little bit about Lord Bayon as he might have made his exit in this story to find out that Bayon had a lot more clout and a lot more importance to the demons and the plantations and everything that was put together in this world. I mean, this guy was a CEO for all intents and purposes. You know, he was overseeing lots of, if not all of the farms. You know, he was a benefactor, so he was putting his own money in. He was a very big part of having this all put together. And with him being down, this is going to have some big ramifications as we go back in a flashback for a demon. You know, you usually get that when a main character dies or about to meet their end, but we actually saw a flashback in like the last moments for a demon. So Promised Neverland once again turning things around. This is something that this and Boku no Hero does really well, is just giving a fair amount of shine to everyone, as Bayon and Lewis has been characters that we've been getting a lot of backstory with. They've been the most interesting that we've seen so far. You can even argue that, you know, what we got with, you know, Lewis and Bayon is probably some of the best that we got, even over, well, that's a little bit of an exaggeration to say they're best over some of the kids, but, you know, the time and dedication that they're putting into them has been pretty much grand, and this was a big chapter because we learned a lot, and the ramifications that this can have once again with, you know, Bayon going down is, think about this, with him being as big as he is to the demons. You know, this guy, Lord Bayon, was more than just a title. You know, it was just more than a fancy title. This guy was a big part. This could only make things harder for the kids going forward and the kids that are still in captivity, because think about it. With him being down, you know, words are going to get out that he was killed if he's done, because, you know, you can't rule anything out into this series until it's official. If word gets out that Bayon was killed by these kids and he's this big of a tool and what's going on in this world, that's going to make things even harder, because remember, just the kids escaping, you know, Grace Farm or Grace Field, just that was enough for them to tighten up security, to have everybody on high alert. All the people in the demon world know that, you know, the kids are out and their importance. So imagine learning that Bayon was taken out by, you know, these kids. You know, that's essentially going to be like the term I hate using, but the inmates running the asylum. That's going to be the term that we're going to get, because now it's like this food is turning on the demons. That's going to make things harder from there on. That's going to make the bounty on Emma and the crew even higher. It's just going to make things harder for Phil and Mama back at the, you know, the farm before they escape. This was a big deal. If this is a body that the kids have dropped, that's going to be big news. It's going to ripple across, and it can threaten the promise overall. I mean, just Lord Bayon, I'm just thinking about now of how big taking him out would be to this world. That could blow the promise on its end, and people like Sung Ju and possibly even still, you know, William Minerva, whoever wants this war to happen, it pretty much could happen if word gets out of what happened to Bayon right now, because we go back to the promise. We learn how the promise started. We learn about Bayon and his hunger. You know, 1,000 years ago when they sat down and said, you know, we're not going to hunt humans anymore, that was part of the farms actually being made, and Bayon was a big part of that decision. And that's how the farms came to be, because if they can't hunt humans straight up, they still need to eat. So that's why humans was put into the farm, and these humans were mass produced. You know, they were coming out stillborn almost. And, you know, Bayon, this whole thing with him making this hunt and this survival thing that he's doing is basically out of boredom. You know, he just got tired of eating the same food, the same dry food that he was getting that was mass produced out of these farms. And he was just sitting there one day and he was like, you know what? I'm just sick of eating this bland food. I mean, that's the best way that you can look at it. I mean, I've experienced this myself. You guys follow me on Twitter, where I was saying if you eat the same thing for lunch over and over and over, it's not going to have taste. You're going to get sick of it. And the children that were being produced and was sent to them is not a part of the quality of the food that they used to have when they hunt, because, you know, certain things can affect, you know, overall, you know, if they're scared or what type of mental state that they're in, that could affect the food product overall. And Bayon wanted that thrill of the hunt, and he wanted that thrill and the taste that it gave the food, which could also be a big origin point as far as, you know, why the kids are sent off to where they are and wait until they're 12 years old. And I know this is knowledge that we've seen before, but I think we're finally peeling back the layers and getting down to that in the detail is, you know, when they get a certain age, they're old enough to taste better. You know, their brain is mature a little bit more. And the whole hunting thing with Bayon, we know that he was doing that in secret. That was him making up for not being able to hunt for the kids anymore. But this can also have ramifications on the demons too, as far as the promise, because the promise went both sides. It went with humans and it went with demons not to hunt each other. So if word gets out that Bayon was doing this too, whoever's over this promise, that can rain down on people like Lewis and people that was under him as well, because not only, again, is it going to make things hard for the kids, it's going to make things hard for the demon now, because somebody was out here secretly breaking the promise. Now, if they truly want to make these demons the villains, you know, they're not going to care about that, but this promise was put in place for the fact that there won't be a war, and it looks like it's going to come. I mean, it really did hit me right now how big it would be to take these people out in Goldie Pond, because they are high-ranked demons for a reason. And guys, remember I was saying that the demons' biggest weapon was the human fear that they had of them, and their biggest weakness is going to be their arrogance for underestimating the humans. We actually saw that come to play with Bayon as he began to realize that, you know, these kids are a little bit more formidable than I thought, and maybe I've just been taking it a little bit easy on them. And in his last moments, again, if they are his last moments, I'm not confirming that yet. You know, Bayon went in, he got really scary, and he was able to possibly take somebody down. Like, is Oliver dead? I don't know, but Bayon definitely did give him a pretty serious wound before he fell. And that's kind of where we left on the cliffhanger for the chapter. And it's also not clear to me if Zach died or not, because they did show him, you know, get wounded by Bayon and kind of push forward the plan that they need to draw Bayon into this trap that they're going. But at the same time, this was a dangerous trap, because if this would have failed, it could have blew everything up, because this tunnel that they were in was the biggest place that they could have to escape. And I believe they said they had 5 different passages that the humans can use to escape to. And if anything would have happened to one of those passages, that would have destroyed anything. So it was a really big risk taking Bayon down there, but they had to bank on the fact that they had this undercover, that they had everything up to snuff, and that Lucas put on enough plan to actually take Bayon out. And there was no better way to lure him in than to use his arrogance. And Bayon realized at the last moment that he fell for the trap, and he may have fell for the trap because of his own arrogance. You know, he was like, I'm gonna follow these kids back to where they went. And then it came to his brain that, wait a minute, they just made the perfect trap for me, so I might be screwed here, but I'm gonna take some people out with me. And the fact that I do believe that Bayon is dead, like, usually you don't get a flashback unless somebody's gonna die. So for him to have that conversation with Lewis, you know, with Lewis saying, so basically you're the boss around here now, I wouldn't have expected that from somebody like you. So that shows a little bit of dynamic. I wish we would have got a little bit more time to find out what they mean about that. But just like the arrogance took out Bayon, that might come into play with Lewis as well. The only thing with Lewis is he realized how arrogant he was being a lot earlier. So that might be the final point to push him through, not to play around with Emma so much, even though he is giving her that time restraint. And I'm still wondering about James Rattari and his brother as well. Like, I know that William's brother, he was a big part in this story. Like, remember, he was the one that was bringing people to Bayon. Remember, we even saw him with Norman, and I think if Norman would have went through Goldie Pond, we would have saw him by now, and maybe they're still holding on to that. But we never got back to Norman and what like happened after he took him there. He just took Norman to like a lab and he's being worked on. And then, you know, we got the hint that Hodor, I'm sorry, what is the kid's name? It's been so long, I forgot now. We know that he was mumbling Norman's number. That's the only thing that he can see. So it's still the big theory out there that Norman helped this guy escape, and knowing that Emma and Ray would get to Goldie Pond one day. But I want to know what's the brother's importance in this. I mean, they really are painting it that he probably portrayed William, and this whole Goldie Pond thing wasn't going to work unless it was a trap. Remember, kids of a certain caliber were being sent here on Bayon's request, and again, we got that in more detail. But you never know with this series. I mean, what is his game? What is the brother's game? What is he up to? What is his importance? And is he going to be the next foe that we need to go for once we're done with Goldie Pond, which we will be? So I guess they're going to save Lewis for when we get to that, man. And Ray, I'm really hoping for that. I know I tell you guys that every week, but we can't end this arc without some type of resolution with those three, with Lewis, that man, and Lucas. So we have to see what's going to happen with that. Even if Emma's able to outsmart Lewis and take him out himself, I still think those three need to come into play. But yeah, that was this chapter in a nutshell. Again, a very good chapter. Promised Neverland has been on a roll. Promised Neverland has been on a roll for 84 chapters now, and I cannot wait for the anime announcement just like everybody else. But, you know, I saw this earlier when someone said, you know what, the thing is about when they get an anime is that unfortunately people are going to start to ship the characters, and these kids are like 11. No, with the trouble that this dude with Kenshin is in, we don't need that type of thing. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here, guys. Let me know what you thought of this chapter in the comments below. Let me know some of your thoughts and theories. Do you think Bayon is truly dead, or was that truly his last stand? Again, if Bayon is gone already, these kids have been taking down some bodies, and even though we might have lost possibly Oliver, possibly Zach, again, it hasn't been official, this is still big for them, for the ones that they've taken out so far. So if they can take out Bayon and, you know, the other various demons with the plans that they're making, I'm not gonna say I'm comfortable that they will take out Lewis just as easy, but it's becoming a little bit more believable with the way that they're going now, because this plan is sound unless some type of traitor comes into play and just blows everything up, and of course have the kids to escape, because it's not going to be a clean victory. I also say that every week as well. So we'll just have to see where it goes from there. So let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments below. If you like the video, go ahead and drop it a like. And if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. There's now a shortage of content for you guys to indulge on this channel. And as I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. I really appreciate that. So thanks for stopping by. On that note, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.